I am so
You're so
yeah, I was just commenting to Nadja how triggered I am right now. Oh, because oh God, because I've prepared myself, like my setting. There's all this energetic preparation for the calls, and then the internet fails, and it's a structural problem outside. So there's no way I can solve it. And yeah, this is part of life, part of the unpredictable part. Yeah,
well, it's
part,
actually
and then
more like India than like normal life.
it looks like that, because even like I was talking with how do you say, the internet technician, and he was like saying, oh, this is like really a problem outside, like the cable is intermittent, it's maybe damaged. And I was just like, but we've placed the the cable like 1 month ago. How is it possible that it's already not working? And he was just like, yeah, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. And then yeah, and
Love
so
it.
I'm recording on my phone, but with
Yes.
limited data. And yeah.
And I'm also super triggered. I'm like, I could smack everybody who says menopause is a breeze. It's like, I'm just like, um, I feel such a wreck today too. It's one of those days.
Mm,
It's one
it's
of
it's
those days. It doesn't matter what you do, you know, like when those things when people say, oh yeah, it's just so easy, it all depends whatever you do, and you just need to do it right. The joint and the pains and the aches and the puffiness and it's just, and the sweats are just like, it's horrible. So that's where I'm at today.
yeah, the thing is, what I feel like sometimes when you have some distance over the problem, like of course, like I'm not in my observer self, and you are also not in your observer self. We are pretty much relating to our emotional selves. Um, but yeah, the thing is, when I also get very triggered when people say these type of comments, like, yeah, I'll just breathe, or just this.
Just relax. If somebody says to me, relax, yeah.
Yeah, because what I feel is you have two options. You can understand, and I think both me and you, we have that, and it's the beauty of the inner work. We know at the end of the day that this is just a moment, this is just a difficulty, a test, a challenge, whatever it might be. And but still we cannot bypass the trigger. We cannot bypass like the, I really feel like agitated, like aggravated. I did everything in my power to have things nice and calm, and now they don't happen. And in your case, it's just this inevitable phase of life where you're also being tested. A lot of changings, hormonal changes in your body. Like there's an adjustment of the body, there's an adjustment uh, of your, like all your routine and lifestyle to make it as smoothly as possible. But that time of adjustment needs to be honored, and actually it's challenging in itself, right?
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's two situations where we're totally out of control, or we feel
Mm-hmm.
out of control. Like
Mm-hmm.
both, you know, like I have this internet thing. I have this a lot. I've just really organized myself in such a crazy way. In India, I have 3 internet lines. I have cable, wired internet. I have these adapters and this and that and power backup and such and this. Like I'm probably the best equipped office in the whole of North Goa, I would reckon. So it's like my Swiss over structuredness is you know, kind of juggling it. But the thing is with this menopause, and yes, I will be the one, and I'm the one who is advocate, like really feels it's the most important threshold in our lives to actually go. Just today, I feel like crying, you know. it is also because of that, because we go through such a change. But you know, like to see your body, I've really grown beyond this crazy vanity that I did have. I was vain, and I was not crazily so compared to what's happening today, but for my generation, I was vain.
Mm.
And I'm a Leo, so appearance was important to me, to look good, you know. And I've really transcended a lot of those, you know, I'm okay with getting wrinkles, I'm okay with those things, but I'm not okay feeling like a bloated something and having all these aches and pains and not eating a lot but still putting on weight. And it's not even that I'm eating, not that I'm not having much appetite actually. It's just a whole system, you know, and my boobs exploding. I don't know what to wear anymore in terms of bra, no bra, because if you know, it's like it's not even about decency or anything, or like needing to wear a bra. It's if I don't wear one, it's aching here. If I wear one, it's aching here. So these things is yeah, it's challenging. And I know what I would need to do, but it costs a lot of money and a lot of time. And I don't have neither at the moment. So yeah, it's those challenges. And also the knowing that I did things in the past, if I had not taken 15 years the baby pill, if I had not fucked up, excuse my French, but I feel like swearing, if I hadn't fucked up my hormones in the past, you know,
Go for it.
if I had been doing this, if I hadn't been doing that, if I wasn't doing such, that yes, I would be in a better place. But still, you know, now I do many things in a good way, in a right way. And, you know, when I do the forward bend in the yoga, everything gets in my way. It's just really, really, really annoying.
But you know, Nadia, like that is so beautiful. You know, I am truly so inspired by you in this. Sorry, I'm just putting my power bank because if not,
Yes,
this is going to. I'm so inspired by you in that way because I feel one of your biggest powers is just this ability of you owning up your vulnerability, your rawness in such a, but it's in such a powerful way. There's no facade. There's no sugarcoating. There's no superficiality in it. You just go right deep to the core of every issue. And what I feel is so important is to have, you know, those beacons of light, those people that can actually hold the space so that you also can start your own process of grieving. And that you are talking about is exactly grieving, you know, your past, like your own mistakes, owning up, accountability for, you know, where you got it wrong. And it's okay. And also it's part of it, feeling the loss or feeling the mistake, feeling like, why did I not know? Why did I not look into this deeper? Why was I not, you know, why was I moved by vanity? In my case was by greed and competition. But also then allowing oneself to feel all of that sadness, grief. For me, a lot of what emotion that's coming up is pure rage, like even like violence. It's not nice. It's not pretty. It's not socially accepted. And I'm so grateful that I can give myself the space to allow myself to go through all of that ugly emotions, or like deemed socially ugly. I don't feel them as ugly anymore. I actually I relate to the power that they bring me also, the stamina, the drive, the I can do it, this type of thing. But really the thing is, once you start to really go into the past and you allow oneself to present the to be in the present, allowing the emotions of the past, and then you correct the timeline, because then you can create like this space of comfort for your future self to be like that potential. But it's a process, you know. So now we are connecting to our past selves, our past mistakes, but then I've also realized that there's this potential for then, like, to me my journey has been like the self-love, you know, like, okay, like I've done these past mistakes, I've wronged before, I've did, you know, bad things, and I fueled my bad wolf, my the bad the cruel side of myself, and I've done that repeatedly in the past. I cannot rewrite the past, but I feel I can correct it in the present through this amazing process.
Yes, you can, but it's like sometimes in the moment, you know, that's actually something you have. You have this quality that, well, it's a quality and it's a trap, that you go like into this, always seeing the positive about it. You know, sometimes you just have to be in it. Like you already like see and oh, because I'm feeling like shit now, that is going to really, you know, I have to own up to it. Sometimes it's also just really good to be in it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the socially acceptable thing of being in it, it is okay to be angry. It is okay to be pissed. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay to regret. It is all this, you know, this, we've actually had this talk the other day, and I feel very strongly about it. It is the certain statements that they're taken out of context, and then they're published online. It's all about this, oh, everything needs to be in resonance and love and light and beautiful, and if it flows, that means it's correct. And it just you know, this all this bliss thing. So if there's any obstacle coming, it's wrong. If there's anything happening, that no, it's okay. And it's when you look at the Holy Scriptures in any lineage, be it religion or spiritual or oral transmission of knowledge, it has 7 layers, and it has 7 layers of understanding. So the same word, the same sentence can be interpreted in 7 ways. Like a man I know, and he's been a bit like of a mentor to me when I was studying social work. And when I did my diploma thesis, he was coaching me, and I was doing a intercultural, you know, on a cultural topic, which has always been very present in my life: integration, culture, assimilation, this kind of things. And then what he said, he actually studied. He lived in Israel he was married to a Jewish lady, and he lived in Israel. So he didn't study that, but he lived there. He studied the Quran. He did his doctorate on that, and he was doing theology. And he knows all these religions at depth. He said, like, you know, Nadja, the first layer, you read like an IKEA manual. You put this screw in here and you put it like that and you do like that. And the second layer, there's some more depth to it. And then the third more. And in the past, what happened, you needed to be initiated in a certain layer. You needed to be initiated in a tradition. And only then you had access to certain texts, to certain teachings. Nowadays, so much has become available that it's been totally ripped out of context and distorted and then spread around and then put on social media by, you know, not being understood what it actually means. And one of the things that I feel very strongly about is that, yes, when you are really there, yes, you see everything in bliss, and yes, everything is, you know, there's this softness to it, there's this calm to it, there's this everything to it. But if you go straight from kindergarten into this bliss university, you have bypassed like so many different layers, you know. And by actually going through those layers, you're purging and you're burning the old stuff, you know. So it's okay to feel bad at times. It's okay to feel out of control. It's okay to not feel in alignment.
Mm.
It's okay.
Yeah, that is such an important message. Like to me, really. Yeah. Like it's yeah, you hit a very deep point for me, because it's really one of those that I still struggle pretty much. I still want to be, you know, like, how do you say, you use this expression like faster, higher, better all the time. And then I judge myself when I'm in this, like, I still prefer the ascent to the descent. And so when I have like these bad emotions, or even like bad as in so, like what we were describing, not socially accepted, but when I'm angry and like enraged and so triggered, and I just feel everything is so dark. It's like a dark cloud all over me, and I even have my moments of victim still, but I still judge myself to be in that state.
Well, I had a moment
And
of victim too today.
you also had the moment of victim. And I recall, you know what I recall, like what the work that you do then, because I recall when we were back in India, I would get triggered when you were in the victim, you know, or like when you had these things that I also, but I would get triggered because I also had them, and you the other way around. But what I feel it's happening is the more compassionate I am towards myself, and really when I start, like, and it's a deep process for me, because I am really judgmental and critic to me and to others. But when I do that, like, things that before would trigger me in our bond, because it was so how do you say, like, it was so proximate, like we were basically, we've seen one another like 24/7, not 24/7, like 12/7. So these deep things that before would trigger me, like I now, I don't trigger me anymore. And I feel like with you, I've also I've realized that I've sensed in you also more of not compassion, but I feel like you get me more. You also get the inner works of my psyche more. So you kind of like also you have more clarity over me, and that's also, I feel, the beauty, not only the compassionate side and loving side, but also the more you connect to other without false pretenses, without like these um, layers of deception, the more you also build that space for the other to be completely raw and authentic with you. um you build true intimacy. That's it, no?
It's a relationship. I mean, it's not a
Mm.
romantic relationship, but it's
Mm.
a relationship where you really work on it, and it's like where you work on the dynamic. And you know, the thing is, where being triggered, I'm very rarely triggered by authenticity. Actually, never. I think I I like the raw and real, and even if it's ugly, and even if I just cannot stand, and this is really something that I am at the moment, and that's what menopause puts you in, this rawness of not being able to put up with stuff that you cannot handle deep inside. I cannot handle lack of authenticity. So if you're grumpy and you're in a bad mood, you're angry, but it's authentic, you know, I doesn't trigger me. What
Mm.
triggers me is a fake smile. What triggers me is is a fake persona, like pretension, lies, deception, manipulation, backstabbing. That triggers me a lot, and it's usually like wounded actions, you know. But what it doesn't trigger me, this rawness, and you know, like being the victim. Yeah, like it's okay if you're not wallowing it and you're aware of it, you know. if you don't swim in it and have a spa day in it, if you just have a dip in the victim, you know, it's okay. I feel today I really I feel like bloody hell, what's this? This is not fair. And I also feel it's not fair that I really, you know, then it comes the comparison. I know women that have done everything wrong in their lives, like when it comes to nutrition, hormonal substances, whatever, you know, and they breeze through menopause. And that's also because maybe different reasons, but it's also got to do with constitution, you know. Like some people, they smoke a packet of cigarettes every day and they never have any lung issues, and some people die of lung cancer and they've never even seen anything like that, you know. So it's yeah, people who drink one glass of wine and they have liver problems, and somebody who drinks a bottle every day and they don't. So it's also constitution, but that's where I get triggered about my own constitution, that I feel everything physically so strong. I'm so psychosomatic. And I've also gone through a really, really hard, like the last year has been super purging. And I also feel it's a delayed reaction to that super purge. And I will probably one day say, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I've had this because it made me who I am today. But today, if you say that to me today, I'm just going to slap you, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yep. Yes. These 2 points that you touched upon, like the first one, the authenticity one, I actually I want to share this with people because I really feel that invites a lot of healing for their relationship with others. A little bit of a timeline between my relationship with Nadja, and so we really went very deep, and she was my teacher in India, and we've spent a lot of time together in like a student setting, but also like as friends, and we've built this relationship. And then eventually we hit like everything that is so deep, like we hit each other core wounds. And then like I have this wound of betrayal and like feeling used. So all of that came up to the surface, and we had like this I feel like time also for self-actualization, for realizing what is mine to own, what it's the other person's. And then I really feel that we came like our bond just flourished so much from that conflict. Like I'm able to more and more like be myself, but still, and I knew that I knew intellectually that you valued and praised authenticity. But still, I don't know why, because I'm used to misrepresent. I feel it's one of my unconscious coping mechanisms to be loved. I feel I did that. And even like this past week, I shared like this very deep, wounded moment with Nadja. And the moment I sent that message to you, my inner critic came up. What are you doing? Like, Nadja will judge you. Like, and it was like, I was preparing myself for you to literally, this was my crazy thoughts. The moment I sent that message, like, I had to hold the space for myself because I had this urge to erase the message several times. And several times it would come up to me like, what are you doing? Like, you crazy lunatic. Like like Nadja will judge you. And then like I went through it. Like I trusted that present moment and that decision I've made, that conscious decision to share the process with you. And then I received the most beautiful message from you, like giving me the space, to be my wounded self, to feel that sorrow, to feel that all that pain that came up. I was almost like sniffing in the phone while talking to you. And that is so precious because that was the moment that I got that, you know what? If I am more and more authentic and I appear like I am in my relationships, it's how, you know, actually people will connect more to me. They are not connecting to my perfect, like my perfect misrepresentation. They are connecting to self. And self is part wounded, part healed. And then the second point you touched, which was on I think, and now I lost it. I think this one is more important. Let's go with this one.
It's authenticity, you know, we're not perfect. And the more you start to actually overcome those things, you know, like you now, you've been authentic, you've shared. And what I might add is there's this drama tears, you know, when you have that a lot in the spiritual settings, then people go through a huge process, just actually attention seeking, and they want the attention of the teacher, they want the love of the teacher, so they make a big drama. Like, people have different strategies to get attention, but it's like this victim drama tears, attention, and that just, I'm not reacting, I'm not going into resonance for that anymore. So people find, oh, you're so cold, but I'm so sad and you're not there for me. It just doesn't touch me. But what happened with your sharing, that came from very deep inside. And it wasn't a crying for attention. It was just a honest and deep sharing, which I knew was very you literally jumped into the cold water, actually being honest about your sharing. And that touched me because it's an honor, you know, it's an honor for somebody, from, like, for me, it's an honor for me if you share that to me. It means that you trust me, it means that you feel safe around me, it means that it can open up. So it's a big gift to share somebody's deepest inner, to share one's deepest inner world to somebody is the biggest gift, because you share your deepest inner self and you show yourself to that person, and it's the biggest gift. The same as honesty. If you share your honesty with a person, even if it's touching upon things that might, you know, cause some, ruffle some feathers in the beginning, it's the biggest act of love, because you actually, in the sharing the truth, you take your time, you take the energy to actually do that, you know. And the same thing with sharing your inner vulnerability. It's a gift to the other, because it actually opens doors for the others to also be more authentic. It is like the more you can, when you can be authentic now to me and you feel received with it, then that opens me up as well. That opens you up towards others, because somebody will come to you, you will receive them in an open way too. So it's this beauty of the openness, and this beauty of the rawness, and you, not this fake, on the spiritual path, especially on the lineages where it is about authenticity. Like I said before, I had this too, the drama tears. I was also in the retreats, and I was, everybody, oh my God, I remember I was, I couldn't cry in public. Like, I was always able to feel very deep emotions. It was after my trauma in South Africa. It was very traumatic for me when my ex-husband left me, the whole situation around it, the deception, the lies around it. Deception and lies have always been my biggest trauma. Manipulation, deception, lies, that has been my biggest pain in life. And then after that, you know, I closed up. But before that and a while after, I could always feel the deep emotions, yet I did not want to show my deep emotions. I did not feel safe to show my deep emotions to 99.999% of humanity. And especially not in a retreat with some other idiots who crying, like, you know. And I was coming there was this judgment coming, who are you idiots? But then the thing is also, this discernment actually came in, that I realized that I'm actually very good at discerning if somebody's crying drama tears, because I was in these retreats, when somebody shared from the depths, and it wasn't about attention seeking, I felt it, you know, like, also to also realize how deeply you can feel somebody else's pain, that then makes you be able to open up your pain. And that's so beautiful about those group settings, like when you encounter somebody who is truly raw. And if you go in these group settings, after a while, it's like a massage, like you're netting in, and you slowly get into the core, and then you do many of those settings, and then eventually you're much more able to share what you are actually feeling deep inside. But the authenticity and the deep feelings, to share that, it's a big gift. And for me, it's like almost like that I'm socially not I don't quite know how to be socially anymore, because around animals I do not need to be any different than I am, and I'm pretty unfiltered around the few people I have close in my life. I'm not really conforming to social rules.
Norms.
So it's sometimes very awkward for me then, if I feel I need to, or still have sometimes those situations that I feel I need to. It's very, very tiring and very challenging.
And depleting, no?
Very depleting.
That's also what I'm getting. It's the price. More and more I have this conscious that whenever I'm not in authenticity or like truth and integrity, I pay a price. And because of course, like I invest quite a lot on my inner process. So it's like my barometer, my inner barometer is getting very precise and accurate. And it's just like the moment I do something inauthentic, the moment I do something that is not in alignment, like it's such a big effort. And before it would not feel like that, at least not in this like almost like with such precise accuracy in regards like to time. Like the moment I say a fake word, I feel it in my energetic body. The moment I say like fake sympathy, or like I'm dishonoring myself, I'm selling out my gifts where I should not, or where like better discernment I could not, because it's a choice. It's not that I should, it's not a matter of should, it's actually, it was a choice. But more and more I am just so aware of the price I pay in regards to time, energy and resources when I compromise my authenticity, and where I compromise my truth. And I really feel one of my biggest processes in life is more and more be in integrity. Like my life should be about integrity. But of course it's a process, because I don't know all parts of self. So today's integrity does not really necessarily mean 1 year's integrity, and all of that plays out. But also like touching upon this point that you've raised about the importance of group containers where people are raw and vulnerable, like where they are committed to the journey. It's not, because it's also a process, but I just feel there's, again, going into like the split that we're going into,
Yeah, definitely going into a split.
Yeah, like I feel that there are those that are still, they may be lost, or they may be in different levels of consciousness, but they are still committed to find their path. There's
Just
still
know,
something.
they have a deeper inner knowing there's something
Yeah.
off, and they don't know what. They don't have any information. They're stuck in a setting where nobody else has this feeling, but they feel something, no?
And that was me in the past. Completely misaligned, completely like diseased of the soul. but still I knew something was off. I know that. And then, but it's just, you don't see a way out. You're just like trying, and you're swimming in the big ocean. And it's just like, where is my salvation boat?
Yeah,
Kind
for
of
you,
this
it was very important to be liked.
very important. And that's where I
So
sold, where I
that's where
sold.
you sold out, the being liked.
And belong. Yes, they got
Yes.
me a lot with the belonging. And then there's those that they're just in a different path, and they're learning their different lessons, and more and more embracing artificial, like superficiality, like these, now I call it like these Barbie bubbles of my life is perfect, and they're just not willing to go to go deep, to do the
Yeah,
scab
and
and
also
hand work.
sometimes, you know, if you go, like you open a Pandora's box, people just know that if they open that, they stop pretending that everything is okay. If they open the lid of that box, there's so much stuff gonna come up that they feel they're not strong enough. But truth is, usually when you actually do open the lid and you jump in it and you actually start sorting out, the actual process of doing it costs less energy than to keep the lid on it.
100%. 100%. Yet, like with regards to this, like this first group, what I feel is when they are put together, and and this is my point, like I feel like you have that ability, to hold the space, and you have, for example, an ability that I don't, at this present moment. I still don't know how to discern, how instantly, well, automatically, when I know that, with
It's
discernment,
drama real.
yes, I cannot, there I know that I still cannot separate the truth from lies. I cannot connect 100% to the other in an observer, like still minded, kind of like knowing if it's fake, superficial or not. So it takes me time to draw that conclusion. But you do have that, and I really feel that
Immediately, yes. I always
you
had
do.
that. That's just something that God gave me, you know.
Yeah. No, but the wonderful thing about it is that because you have both of those gifts, that I feel like your ability to draw into your life committed people, like people that are committed to go through the journey, different play, not just different points of consciousness, but the ability to hold the space for this kind of like centered community of souls that are committed to soul growth, um, that carries such a transformative power, because when you are in these containers with people that are committed, and even if they are in the early stages of their soul evolution, they have so much also to add, like so much. And then like true magic happens is just by being there, like listening to the present challenges of the other, but also like you learn so much. You learn so much, when you're in those closed containers, and also kind of the struggles of the other gives you, uh, at least to me, what's happening is it provides me like this sense of, wow, like I this journey has been so worth it. I was there like not long ago. It was me in that precise moment, and now I can, express my voice, but also like kind of like, uh, give confidence to the others that it's possible. It's possible to overcome all the trials and challenges. And in those same containers, then there are people that they are the bearers of that light to me. They give me that hope, that give me that faith that yes, I can go through this. And yeah.
What I would like to say to that is, you touched upon it before about, the people who are new to this soul growing journeys and everything. I have experienced people who literally never knew it. Like even like also you didn't have a clue about any of those concepts 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, we only started like in December, I think.
So like a
Last
year
year.
and 3 months ago. Yet it is the determination, and your A-level student kind of thing is also like, if it is combined with the stamina of really wanting to do it, and the realization and the pain you feel about not doing it, and the wanting, the pratyahara, the keeping on with it. So it is not about, of course, then it helps to get a routine with it, to embody it, to get a practice with it. And of course, with the years, it gets stronger. And what mostly gets stronger is the confidence in your own intuition. Like, it's also try and fail. You perceive something, and then you voice it, but you might be, so it's this kind of, oh wow, I can really trust my intuition because it's actually spot on, or maybe I need to recalibrate. So all those things. But to cut a long story short, what happens, especially in Goa, which is such a fluffball hub for people who do not want to be in the matrix. I know women, I know many men too, but we're talking about women here. I know women who have done 20 years and 30 years of spiritual work. They go into every breath workshop. They go in all these tantric workshops, mantra retreats. They do yoga, they do Ayurveda, they do everything. Reiki, of course. Then all this energy healing this and energy healing that. And with some of the great teachers too, and some of not so great settings. But I've never really done true self-work. They've just collected diplomas and courses. They actually do it to avoid. They do it to avoid, to feel better, to make them feel better. And they're not really truly growing through that. And I've met people who have, I've done the first, like you also, like the first experience of something, like when you've done my yoga, the way you sank in so quickly and the way you absorbed it so quickly. Sometimes it's also when you have done too many things, but it's kind of this overload as well, and then you don't actually cannot connect with self anymore. There's this greed for spiritual offerings. There's this lack of discernment of what is really for you at this particular point in time. Not necessarily if it's good or bad, There's just certain things which are not for you in the moment, but they might be for you. They might have been for you 5 years ago. They might will be for you in 5 years' time, but not now. And then also in Goa, what we get a lot is those people who come here, do a full panchakarma. They want to do yoga every day. And just simply, if you do a colon cleanse, you don't want to do yoga, So there's this frustration about not being able to do yoga because they want to fit in as much as possible in 3 weeks of India. They want to do a full panchakarma, they want to do yoga, they want to do every night ecstatic dance. Then they want to do extra massages, not just the ones which are part of the Ayurveda, because those Ayurveda massages in a panchakarma are not always what one really wants. It's not the relaxation thing, because it can be also quite painful or whatever. And then, there's of course the shopping, and then you want to try out all the Indian food and probably get a stomach bug while you do stomach cleanse. So it's this wanting to pack in, like being unhappy with one's life and wanting to pack in as much as possible into 3 weeks of spiritual experience in India, and then go back to normal life and just live your normal life again, and that just doesn't work that way. Oh, I've probably also done, not to that extent, but eventually you'll have to change it. There's not like two lives. There's not the life you have on this side and then the spiritual life. You'll start with retreats and workshops, but it's really about living a different life every single day, because otherwise it gets very exhausting. It gets very exhausting to have this stretch of switching back and forth. And then it's also this, then you have this spiritual self, you develop the spiritual persona. That's very often those people that us normal or spiritual people who live here permanently, then they're very irritated if we're not all super quiet when we just go to the beach for a walk. They want to meditate then in the middle of the pathway where everybody walks past, and they're very irritated that somebody dares to enter their field or something on the path where everybody walks. So this, you know, this exaggerated A student nerd. I'm now 3 weeks in India, and I'm the picture perfect spiritual person. And then going back into the other, you know, stock exchange kind of paced life. So this is a huge gap. So it's not about, it's about aligning it. So what I'm saying is, when you do a retreat and you haven't done anything before, sometimes it actually, personally, I very often like to work with souls that have not done too much yet before, because there is a certain openness, there is a certain readiness, and there's a certain willingness, you know, that when you have somebody who jumps from one offering to the next, they will never get anything of any of those offerings, because they just take a taste, like a sip, like a teaspoonful. They don't sink in and really absorb. You need to absorb. You need to give your body and soul also time to absorb.
Yes. Yeah, I think that was one of the big lessons you've embodied to me.
Shakti healing.
I mean, no, not Shakti healing. Oh God, because I was in that trap. Nadja is laughing. For a bit of context, I was in that. I felt so wounded and so like something like so out of my path, that everyone that was going to say I'm like this savior complex thing, like everyone that I felt, I really felt such a deep pain, and I was so much eager to learn and to have my answers, and to I knew I was ready to embark on the journey of self. I had that intuition, and I've prayed, I've asked God to show me the way, to give me the I remember like asking for my values back, because I really felt I lost my compass, my inner compass. And so, but anyone that would offer that to me, because I was so misaligned and so out of touch with my discernment, everyone that would say, yes, I heal you, yes, I do this, especially coming from a matrix world where everything is material, everything is the head. In the head, I felt super on control, but in the spiritual realm, like I was, I was the new kid in the block, like literally a baby. And I feel that a lot of people exploited that wound, also exploited that eagerness to learn. And I was fortunate enough to have Nadja in my life, who very strongly and firmly no, yes, at that point I could not discern, so you had to hold your ground. And I recall having conversations with you, and you really saying like, look, the more you do, the more shock you'll get to your system. Just focus, steady practice on one thing, and then when you actually it was not that you forced me to choose, but you set the tone so clearly and so firmly that I was just like, I was forced to make a decision, and it's the one decision that I don't regret. Now I recall, yes, I also wanted to do the panchakarma. And for those that don't understand, like panchakarma is like this in Ayurvedic medicine, which is it's a branch of medicine, let's say, the most ancient one. It has millennia of age, and it's the big alternative. It's one of the big alternatives, along with Chinese medicine, to like our allopathic system, like the Western system of medical and chemicals. So Ayurvedic medicine, it's based on the Vedics, and is it's these ancient practices, and it's very natural, it's very plant-based, it has a beautiful way of understanding the human body, very holistic, very integrative with the the respect for the elementals, for the respect for our unique composition. And this to me is amazing, like the integration between body, mind, and soul. By a lot of then Westerners, they come with a lot of, you know, the big aches and pains, and then they like the entry point into Ayurvedic medicine is doing a panchakarma, which is basically a detox of 1 month, and it's very complex, like not complex, it's very, for the body, it's quite a shock, so you really need to be fully committed. And so they kind of like overwhelm the system with, you know, doing yoga, doing panchakarma, doing the massages, everything is just you will definitely not get you will not get the results that you're searching if you're overwhelmed. You're basically almost re-traumatizing yourself in a way.
Too much for the system, especially when you're doing it the first time. The panchakarma in itself, some gentle yoga on some days, it's good. But some days, definitely not the cleansing days, you know. There's this different phases in the panchakarma also, that it can be complementary, because also sometimes to move the things, but it's a certain type of practice, definitely not Ashtanga yoga.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different type of very physically a very demanding yoga, and it's definitely not the time for indulging into Indian street food, and you know, so this catch to is this 2-step forward, 3-step back mentality. So when people, that's what I touched on, when people come to India, that's what they want to experience. And there's also the thing is, I think with the panchakarma, that's like a different topic in the sense that people just want to squash in too much in too short a time. But there's this need for 21 days Kundalini, oh, 21 is long, no? 7 days Kundalini awakening.
Not possible.
It's more like 7 years. There's this need for, you know, what is it? Any kind of chakra balancing is also one. And everything, it's a rule. Everything that somebody does to you from the outside, like somebody heals your field, somebody removes obstacles, all of that. Yeah, the people who have those CDs, those powers, those innate powers. Yet, when you do not heal from inside the entry points that caused the problem initially, you will, let's say you cleanse the chakra, maybe Shuddha needs cleansing. You cleanse the chakra system, you know, you seal the aura or whatever. So if you have these entry points and then somebody seals them, yes, cool, but that entry point is going to be there the next day. If you go to the dentist and fix, you know, your teeth, but you never brush your teeth, it's the same. It's, you need to do the work. You cannot just go and have something fixed in this passivity. There's this thing of passivity. You do not want to do anything for it. You just pay money, you get a healer who works on you. Poor healer, you know, it's not very nice to do that as a healer, to be working with people like that. It's basically energy vampirism, you know. You literally get paid. It's kind of a prostitution from the healer side as well, because you sell out for money to do something which you actually know is not good, because every healer knows that to truly heal, the person needs to do work. But because it doesn't sell, people sell out, healers sell out, and they do this kind of healing work so they can earn money with it, you know. And I'm not saying this is not working. It is working in combination with doing your own work. It can, but then you work closely with this healer. You don't just go to this healer, you know, and do a once-off session. Then you have to work closely with that person who will show you the tools, who will show you the practices. That is different. That can work, and that can work beautifully. But it is also in the spiritual community among spiritual teachers. when we talk with each other, you know, it's kind of, it's about survival as well. We also sell things. So what market, you know, what is demand or offer demand? We offer what's in demand, and what's in demand is passive healing.
Quick fix
Quick fix
also.
and passive quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
Not something that you need to, even the Ayurveda is too long, it's too tedious.
Yeah, I know. I recall the feedback of
I don't get a quick fix there.
I recall the feedback of the like even when I discovered the Panchakarma, and I wanted I wanted to say to everyone like, do this, blah blah, and the answer I got, like, I don't have 1 month to stop. I don't have 1 month to go to India to stop work, or like be in vacation, or it's too expensive. And then I see like the cognitive dissonance of that, like this is actually, but Panchakarma is just one, but it's one little adjustment in your life, 1 month, that may save you years of pain and suffering. And you are saying to me that you don't have 1 month, you don't have the money, when actually Panchakarma is less expensive than the bills that you are paying to your normal doctors, who are literally, most of them, they are fixing, like, they are putting a band-aid in like a deep wound, and sooner or later that deep wound will continue to bleeding until until you cannot move anymore. The thing with, and again, with the healers, and I feel very strongly about this, the thing with the spiritual work, that yes, it's very needed, yet it must be done responsibly. And like, I really feel there are points that the healers need to align in regards to, okay, with regards to the marketing, how like, marketing is just a way of delivering to the client, but like, where am I compromising my truth? Where am I compromising? Where am I drawing the line between between the way to sell my gifts in in divine alignment, and where am I causing an illusion on the other? Because the thing is, when you compromise with the 21 days, and I see that a lot in the spiritual circles, that is a lie, that is a deception, that does not happen. And so this is something that I really feel strongly about within it's more the new age kind of circles. It's not these ancient lineages, but this new age, I really feel that they sell out, really, as you were saying, like a prostitute, because they in the marketing, they are selling an illusion. They are selling, and this I also feel very strongly about. They use like this jargon, these spiritual deep concepts, these deep layers, and they use it lightly. And then because of course some of have access to the internet, and they make popular like these very deep, they disrespect their science, they disrespect their cities, their powers, they disrespect their divine gifts. And so this is one of those, having come actually from selling out my let's say material gifts, in a way, like those more pragmatic qualities, but with regards to the spiritual ones, yeah, I feel very strongly, maybe because it's one of my red flags for me, like that I don't allow myself to do, but it's one of those that yeah, it's one mantra that coming like this week for me, is like, just how can one person make the sacred profane? Like, it's just it's something that at least for me, it's one of those that I'm not able to go there. I don't want to go there.
And it's also like plagiarism is happening a lot.
Ah,
It's like
yes.
plagiarism, and I feel it's often happening, especially it's happening everywhere. But when you have these languages, you know, these different language groups, for example, a lot of spirituality has been translated into English. So the English, in the English realms, when you also Google whatever, there's more available, right? But when you are a teacher, let's say you're a Swiss German teacher, or you're a Portuguese teacher, or you are a French teacher, which is a bigger language, but Dutch teacher, or some, you know, like you always have students which are not exposed to the internet in the English language where so much is available. So you take something from the English language, you translate it into your language, you make it accessible for your students in your language, and you sell it out as your own. That's happening mostly in, I feel it's more possible in those language groups that are, you know, where you still, like, for example, in Switzerland, I have quite a few students which do not speak English well. So I could do that easily. I could easily take something, whereas in the English community, everybody would immediately recognize where I've got it from. The Swiss German clients wouldn't, you know, I would just translate it into German and bring it across verbally in Swiss German, as Swiss German is only a spoken language. And I would bring it across in Swiss German, and it would sound as if it's from me, but that's plagiarism, and it's actually going against the divine laws. And what's even worse in that is that you very often, because you lack the discernment, and you actually lack yourself the teachings, you are not worthy of those teachings yet. You haven't reached that level which is necessary to be able to interpret those teachings correctly and bring them across correctly, that you will translate it, but you do not translate the soul of the message. So you take something totally out of context, you bring it across to your students who are maybe even less ready to receive it, and then it's been totally distorted and misinterpreted. And then there's this demi-truths and fake stories out there. Something needs to be like this, you always need to be in bliss, or, you know, all this slogans how things should be. It is very, very dangerous. You're actually not just doing something naughty or like kind of white crime. I find it's very, very, very bad. It's selling out, you know, it's totally selling out, and it's based, you basically make a profit based on, it's theft.
Yes.
And it's not just theft of, because it's not just theft of intellectual property. It's theft of spiritual property. It's actually theft of soul. It's even more, it's very bad for your soul to do that. And of course, it's very tempting. I understand that if you decide, for example, and that's a trap that happens to a lot of us who try to live from spirituality, is that we start aligned, and then we don't have the students, and then we start to find ways to attract students, and then we start to get into the laws of the market, which is a matrix law, which is a toxic masculine law. And not necessarily, but it's used as a toxic masculine law. It can be also aligned, of course, like everything can be aligned, yet that's not what's happening a lot. And then it's being used psychologically, it's actually used not manipulatively. You actually manipulate people to join your offerings, because it's not because your offerings are that way. You read the market and you read what is needed in the market, and then you adjust your offerings accordingly, which doesn't mean that is really what you are here to offer. So, for example, like, my biggest gift is to bring people to their core wounds. You know, I'm a mirror for shadows. I'm a mirror for the deep soul exploration, and also lightening out the not so well liked parts. So that doesn't sell very well in the marketing realms. So I could just, you know, wrap it up and sell it and say, oh yeah, awakening in 21 days, and I would have people queue up, all these slogans. I also
Or like,
I know what these posters look like. I see those posters. You throw in some chakra, rainbow, kundalini, awakening, whatever. Like, there's a certain words you need to put in, and you attract the people. But that's goddess. Put in some goddess and priestess too, and then you put it all in the mix and you shake it. And the sad thing is, I do know teachers who tantric teachers who really truly work according to the old lineages, and they also use words like goddess and priestess and you know, they use those words as well, but they do not use them in a distorted way, and then it gets thrown into the whole thing. So it's really, really hard to discern afterwards what is good and what is actually not really aligned, you know.
and again, that is your gift. Yeah, you can discern that, but most people cannot.
Well,
And
I couldn't always, right? I also
yeah,
was part of a group with a predator spiritual guru at one stage. The teachings were very powerful, and I still to this day find I've learned a lot. Yet uh, I was blinded by the aura more than the wording. It's more the flair, you know, the wanting to grow and wanting to go into the spiritual journey, and then the whole certain words, of course, as well. And I'm a sucker for good words, you know. So he was very well spoken. He had a very captivating way of talking and writing. So that really drew me in. And then this whole, I wasn't in India yet, and I think it helps to go to India actually for a while and to get a bit tired of this Indian look, because I'm not talking about the normal Indian, I'm talking about these Indians who realized at one point that they can sell themselves by just having a certain look, this kind of guru look. And then that sells in the West. And it's so true. But if you have lived here for a while, it doesn't really appeal to you as much anymore, because it's like, you know, not every Japanese is a sushi chef, you know, like, or not every Chinese is an acupuncturist. Not every Indian man is a guru, you know, so it's the same story. But when you go to a Japanese sushi restaurant and you've got this Japanese looking guy with his headscarf behind the thing counter, you trust his sushi. But this guy maybe was an accountant in Japan, you know, nothing like even, you know, maybe he's a lawyer, you know, who wanted to travel the world, and now he has a Japanese face, and I actually know a guy like that, you know, it's not just taken out of context. So I actually know an Japanese accountant who is a sushi chef now. And I do know Chinese people who, with the acupuncture side of things. So the same thing with this Indian guru. So that appeals to me, you know. And now it wouldn't. Now it's just, yeah, it doesn't have the same appeal anymore, but I understand that appeal. I do understand it. And also, just, I know you want to say something, but just let me quickly put that in. No, what? No, but the thing is, now we're touching on this man-female again, and he was a man talking about Shakti healing. He was a man talking about healing the feminine. So when did we women start to rely on men to heal our feminine, you know? That is so wrong in itself, that a man is devoting his life's work to healing the feminine. The man needs to heal his masculine, you know, and then together with his life partner, they heal each other too, you know, but not as a spiritual teacher going out there donating his lingam to Shakti healing, you know.
Oh God. The amount of perversion in
Yes,
that.
it's
But yes, I actually I have nothing more. I feel like we need to finish with this strong statement, and yeah, like thankfully for me, like I had Nadia in my life in that moment to be my discerning light. But yeah, it's very important for, like, as wounded as you, like, you are, or you feel you are, and as scattered and in shambles your life might be, like, be very discerning in like who you enter into your life, and like, this is a big red flag, like these men that prey on women's insecurity and vulnerability, um, to with all types of illusions and all types of traps, but it's usually, it comes out of like this savior complex, and they are like they are true predators, looking for praise. So it's very important that women do not really find themselves in that place of no hope, place of darkness, where they really feel that the only light is an external savior that might heal their Shakti through, like, unsacred lingam. Oh. Anyway.
Amen. Amen.